For a show with so many memorable characters, one of the most intriguing people in Bob's Burgers has only made a full appearance once in the entirety of the show's run so far, that being Bob's mom, Lily Belcher. Given that she passed away sometime during Bob's young childhood, her presence in the show generally consists of vague recollections from other characters. At a glance, it might seem like there isn't much to take away from her. Although, if you pay extra attention during some key moments, I think we're definitely able to expand on her emotional impact on both Bob and his dad, Big Bob. Just to start off, I'd like to begin with everything we know about Lily's upbringing. Then I'll touch on her relationship with Bob and his dad after. To begin with, we know that Lily was born sometime between the late 1930s and the early 1940s, as seen in the flashback episode Radio No You Didn't. Given that Lily was a baby during this episode, the focus is almost entirely on her mother, or Bob's grandmother. But if they're anything alike, then it's safe to say that Lily also had a pretty eccentric personality, seen decades later in one of her granddaughters, Louise. It seems like I'm not the only one who's noticed this theme of similar personalities, as it's seemingly implied in the movie by Bob when he tells Louise that she reminds him of his mom.
You remind me of my mom, Louise. And with the hat, it's kind of like you two have met. I keep forgetting that you never did.
Other than that, again pulling from the flashback episode, we're shown that Lily was born in New York, having moved to New Jersey at some point, where Bob's Burgers is generally considered to take place. With that, it's safe to say that at the very least, we have a decent, albeit vague idea of Lily's personality. Although I wish I could talk more about Lily's side of the family, it seems like they're generally not in the picture anymore, especially since one of the only other mentions of Lily's family had to do with Bob's uncle, Ernest Lombard, apparently passing away all the way back sometime during season 3.
Hey, it says I've been named an heir in the enclosed will of Ernest G. Lombard.
Aw, Uncle Arnie's dead? But it's Christmas.
If you're curious, Lombard was actually Lily's maiden name. As far as I know, that's the extent of what we know about Lily's upbringing. While sparse, with the use of some mental gymnastics, it gave us a solid idea of how other people might have perceived her. Fast forwarding a few decades into the future, we can finally discuss her relationships with her husband and son. Regarding Bob, he seemingly has very fond memories of his mom. As I mentioned before, he's still reminded of her decades after she passed away, causing him to potentially have a soft spot for Christmas in particular. I say this because in the season 7 episode, The Last Gingerbread House on the Left, Bob mentions that he and his mom used to make gingerbread houses all the time.
My mom and I used to build them together before she died. It was kind of our thing.
Yeah. Okay.
As fondly as Bob remembers his mom, there's still a certain distance that he keeps from the memory of her. In the season 13 episode, Show Mama from the Grave, the family goes to visit the grave of Lily. Like the rest of the show, it's mostly played for laughs, but this also continued a running theme of including more sentimentality sprinkled through episodes with the most recent seasons. Along with that, it gave us a lot of perspective into where Bob's relationship stands with his deceased mother. It's revealed that at the time of this episode, Bob hadn't visited his mom's grave in 20 years. While this is kind of besides the point, I appreciate that Bob isn't really made to feel bad about this, as everyone deals with grief differently. I think it's safe to say that after her passing, Bob focused more on his creative and professional efforts, possibly as a way of coping. While Bob might feel guilt by prioritizing his own dreams over making a better habit of visiting his mom, Linda does a really good job of explaining why he shouldn't feel as bad as he does.
I think I know your mom well enough to know that she would be okay with you not coming till now. Because she'd want you to be busy living your life with your 3 beautiful children and your fun hot wife Linda. And she'd be so proud of you.
Something that we briefly see in this episode that I think is interesting is the drawings that the kids made for Lily. I bring this up because in the drawings, Lily is actually wearing a differently colored hat than she wears in the movie. After the movie came out, I saw people online theorizing that the pink hat holds more significance beyond the connection to Louise's hat. That being, the pink color of Lily's hat may actually be hinting that Lily passed away from breast cancer. And while Bob says that his mom just liked it, some people theorize that Lily might have been protecting him from the truth. In all honesty, I kind of have a different take on it, in that I don't think it really matters. I feel like the lack of focus on her death is very intentional because of what we're actually supposed to be taking away from her character. Without Lily, we wouldn't have the Belchers that we've grown to love over so many seasons, and it's pretty clear that Lily's positive influence on her son has allowed him to have a healthier relationship with the rest of his family than he did with his dad. I sort of feel like the people who are overanalyzing this aspect in particular are kind of missing the point. With all of that said, I'd finally like to talk about the impression that Lily left on her husband, Big Bob. Between Bob and his dad, I think the latter definitely took the loss of Lily the hardest. There's 2 episodes in particular that give us insight into how Big Bob dealt with such a massive loss, and more importantly, how much Lily truly meant to him. In the season 5 episode, Father of the Bob, we're shown how uncaring of Bob's feelings he was, not allowing him to be creative and delegating Bob to seemingly be an employee before being a son. It's safe to say that Lily was probably a big help to him, and after she passed, due to their large difference in personalities, the life that she brought to the restaurant left with it. While this is an assumption, I think it's fair to think that Big Bob, being overwhelmed by her absence and not having as much help with the restaurant as he did before, most likely put a lot of that stress onto Bob, given that we've been pretty extensively told how stressed out and irritated Big Bob makes his son.
You're a lot fatter than I was at your age.
Gotta go.
In the season 12 episode, Interview with the Pop Pop Pyre, we're finally shown a much sweeter side of Bob's dad. In this episode, Big Bob tells the Belcher family a story about the moment he realized he was truly in love with Lily. When they were younger, they decided to go on a camping trip together. After Lily got up to use the bathroom, a tree fell directly onto where Lily would have been. After thinking about the worst case scenario, Big Bob realized how much Lily meant to him, deciding to eventually marry her. Big Bob and his son have a really beautiful moment after this. Big Bob reveals that the reason he never told Bob the story was because he didn't want to make Bob sad hearing about his mom. But Bob tells his dad that he's not afraid of it, and he wants to hear more stories about his mom in the future. I felt like this was such a great example of Lily still being able to bring her 2 most important people together even decades after she's passed. This is arguably the most important thing that I want people to take away from Lily's character. While the passing of a loved one is always difficult and it takes time to recover from it, one of the best ways to pay respects to them is to continue to keep their memory alive. The love that these people have for us doesn't end when they pass away, and the lessons that they taught stick with us forever. Along with having a great family, Lily's positivity is one of the factors that kept Bob from becoming more like his father. With that, I can safely say that Lily Belcher, while sparse in her appearances, still manages to be one of the most important characters in the show. And at the very least, I hope we get to hear more stories about her in the future. I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know down in the comments if I missed anything important, or tell me about characters from other shows that you feel shape a similar scenario to the one in this video. I appreciate you watching. See you next time.